Welcome back to Slide 2. So let's have the briefing from Bentley about what to do next.
The recon photos are a grim reminder of what the modern thief is up against. Spotlights, stepped up patrols. The sum of it all renders a direct assault impossible.
Ugh.
To solve this puzzle, I'm going to need some more intelligence. First, replace this bugged painting with one Dimitri has in his office.
Alright.
Once in place, we should be able to listen in on his communications. Second, if you see the boss, tail him. We might learn something from studying his movements.
I do like this extra layer that they do add.
It's very, like I said, it's very reminiscent to stuff like Ocean's 11, where the gang is planning the heist in great detail with each careful step.
Now imagine a crossover between this and Persona 5.
First thing first, replace the painting.
I think our team here are a little more sneaky than the Phantom teams.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, with Murray on that, it's kind of balanced out, because it's equivalent of Luigi shouting with a megaphone in the middle of, the plaza where the Phantom is. Anyway, this teaches you another... This is teaching you another mechanic. Carrying objects. Pressing the circle button near Venslide will actually carry on his back, and you can actually place them, in the appropriate spots, or carrying them to the hideout. Now, for this mission, you will have to replace a pre-existing one with your fake copy, but Bentley will tell you what to do afterward. Yes, Libs?
Okay. I'm not sure how good a sign it is of a game, regardless of its quality, if the first thing people bring up when you mention the name of the game is one of the game's dumbest moments.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't get it. What are you talking about?
When you mentioned Persona 5, because you brought up Ryuichi being a loudmouth and nearly giving away the whole thing.
Libs, that's just a meme. Come on, if I really had to be nitpicky, there are other things that Persona 5
Also, it was kind of in response to what I said, so it was relevant to what I said. So.
I mean, I don't even understand. I don't really understand your point, Debs. Like, I mean, people usually like Persona 5, so I mean, is
it's
there
like a 100-hour game. Bringing up one little meme from it it doesn't really say anything
that's
about
like
the rest of it.
That's like saying that it sucks because it has Morgana telling you to go to sleep. Like,
Royal did dial down on it.
I mean, to be fair, that's like saying that Ace Attorney sucks just because Maya tends to get accused of murder. Like, at this point, it's part of the series' charm, honestly.
Well, I never said the game.
But we had a break from that for a few games anyway.
I never said that.
Sure.
Anyway, there you go. Time to sneak into Dimitri's office, but unfortunately we have to take the long road to get up. And also we get introduced to Dimitri's disco theme, which is absolutely hilarious, and fans of the series love to still play to this day.
Hey, Dimitri is like a dark ensemble force when it comes to
yeah, it is actually. In time will actually become much more popular. But it showcases also how versatile Peter McConnell is as a composer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because this series has literally everything, electronic, normal, orchestral, disco, a bit of dubstep in Thieves in Time. So.
That being said, Shiroi, if for whatever reason at all in a possible weird scenario, if Sucker Punch ever partnered with P Studio for whatever reason, I can definitely see Sucker Punch putting in some kind of Sly Cooper Easter egg in a Atlas game, or vice versa, putting Phantom Thieves, because they like to do those kinds of things, because in Ghost of Tsushima there's a Sly Cooper cosplay fit, and from what I've seen apparently there's also something similar in Infamous. So
or maybe a flat out spin-off where the aim is to just be sneaky.
Infamous has Cole wearing a backpack which has the Cooper Gang symbol on it, and there are some Easter eggs in the form like cinema titles, especially in 2. Anyway,
and there's even a
this is one place where you actually have the possibility of, if you have collected all the bootles, you can input the code that Bentley tells you to get an extra power while leaving Sly's calling card. Now, some of these power-ups are not completely useful, but you know, it's good for completion purposes. Anyway, let's do what we came here for.
I will say this though, in this case, Sly, it might be a good idea to close the safe because you know you are trying to case the joint. That is one thing.
Maybe
like,
that's his calling card.
Well, okay. See, that's the thing. In the first game, it made sense that he would leave his calling cards. You know, let the thieves know that he was onto them and stuff while he taunted them. Here, leaving your calling card before you've actually... Well, okay, to be fair, that is something that gentlemen thieves do before they commit heists, but I think the idea that the group's been going with is that they want to try to go in as sneaky as possible.
Yeah, not just that. Anyway, this also teach you, again, the value of objects. Now, if you actually go back to the hideout with the painting still intact, Bentley will be able to sell it for a sum of money. After that point, objects with value will start appearing on the map, and you can actually take back to the hideout for extra money. Some of them, however, as I will show later, will be actually bombed, you know, tripwired, and if you don't put them on the hideout in time, you will actually be destroyed and will have to try back to do that back again. Also, odd things, Dimitri is the only villain who gets this kind of introduction, so I don't know why we did that, but it's hilarious. So yeah, now one thing that, a lot of sandbox open world games will try to do, you have to stake out the actual villain and following from the rules without having to be noticed. Infamous and Ghost of Tsushima also will do that, but also other open world games like Prototype will also have missions like this. Basically, I don't know if it was the very first example that did this, but it's one that definitely paved the way out to others.
The only Sucker Punch game I've ever really played was Infamous Second Son.
Anyway, like I said, in terms of Easter eggs, also, honestly, if there's a collaboration between Atlus and Sucker Punch, for how obscure it might be, I think it might be more fitting Rocking Cats. Whatever you said. Yeah, the thing with Dimitri is that he sounds like a constantly stoned Steve Buscemi. And yeah, that's part of the charm. But there's also another thing that I forgot to mention in the previous game, because a Clockwerk had not been revealed at that point. Horizon Zero Dawn actually has a type of enemy that is like a robotic eagle or owl, and it's gigantic. So I think a cool way to have an Easter egg might have been have one that was called Clockwerk in some kind of fashion, without having to be necessarily the same characters, just, again, naming Easter eggs. Similar to how some Final Fantasy games have some type of monsters that are renamed, like some iconic monsters of the franchise, and both not being technically the same thing. Anyway, there you go. Now, for this particular case, you have to follow Dimitri and spy him while he's typing something on the code on a door. There we go. Okay.
Did you drop the key somewhere?
No, he forgot the last number, but thankfully remember in time.
He had no idea you were watching while he typed in that secret code. Looks like that door leads
okay, is this the games where the subtitles are consistent?
Yeah, they can be consistent. Like I said, it's a thing that's also from the first game.
Yep.
Remember, Dweebs, again, you have to still think about this as the PS2 era, like where putting subtitles everywhere was not an immediate thought process.
That is true, Theo, but at the same time, much like I said with the God of War HD collection, I still think Sanzaru could have perfectly come... Oh, hold on.
I need you to make your way back to the aqua pump room and sabotage it.
Jeez,
Oh,
no.
was it the Hufflepuff for a second?
You should be able to break that power box.
Alright, I think it's the first major time we're controlling Murray, and he also has a particular move, carrying out heavy objects and throwing them.
Indeed.
Square button to throw the block at the power box.
Hit the circle button to pick stuff up, and the square button to throw. Got it.
Alright, let's
Just
give it a
remember, this isn't a game. This is serious.
try. No, don't worry, Jova. The weird 4-4 breaking is there for Jack Free.
That being said, to continue what I was saying, that being said, I will give the God of War HD collection a pass because it was not only was it Bluepoint's first time remastering something, they only had 3 months to do that collection anyway. So I'm at the very least gonna give them a pass there. Sanzaro, on the other hand, I still think, okay, as far as I can tell, there was no like rushed job with this collection. I still think Sanzaro could have at the very least tried to insert subtitles into the rest of the stuff. I mean, clearly, I'm sure they were using the original source code, so it couldn't have been that hard to do.
I suppose it would depend on how much time they had for the porting job here and there, and also furthermore, like, well, what resources they had to work with, and if the game was hard-coded to the point where trying to mess with the code to give it subtitles would not be possible. That's the thing. For some baffling reason, there are some points where the lack of subtitles is apparently hard-coded into the game to the point where they would have to manually add in the subtitles, and apparently they consider that too much work, or apparently it's to the point where adding in subtitles would be something drastic enough to make it a remake. It's confusing.
The thing, Jova, is also about subtitles is that, for how bizarre it may sound, they are potentially code breakers, because you not only just have to, put the line in, you also have to be careful that the font is correct, the size of the font is correct, and that the text length is enough to not potentially cause any problems, because if it's like too much or too slow, it might fuck up the code to the point where the phrase is not registered completely. It will potentially create a problem with the script of the game, and potentially cause bugs and crashes. That's also one of the reasons why a lot of games actually have subs that potentially are not completely in tune with the audio that's going on, maybe a bit late or a bit early in appearing. Because programming them and putting them in the actual game is actually a work in itself.
Okay, fellas, I've constructed a
I guess.
What causes the problem is that they don't consider this early on.
Yep. The interesting
They
thing.
do this stuff later, and that's what fucks it up.
The interesting thing is that Square Enix was actually one of the few people who never had that problem, because right from the beginning with Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts, despite having now voice acting, they still kept the subtitles in. So that was actually one of those rare developers that got it right ahead from the beginning. Nah, let's just keep subtitles still.
And that was back in 2001/2002.
And finally, we'll need to get into the discotheque to drop this mirror ball. Trust me, it's all part of the plan.
Sure it is, Bentley. The thing about Bentley's plan is that sometimes they appear to not make too much sense, but they work out in the end.
Okay, Slide. There's the power boxes which route to the printing press area.
Mm-hmm.
To take care of them, I'll need you to put a splice clip in those spotlights.
Sorry, Bentley, but those fans are spinning way too fast.
Spin to lean.
They can be slowed down from this control panel, but you'll have
6
to do
keys.
a lot of pickpocketing to get at it. The guards are carrying special fragile keys.
Oh, of course they're fragile keys.
Make sure you pickpocket their keys before you take those thugs out. To pickpocket guards,
But yeah.
Oh.
sneak up behind them.
These guys think of
Alright,
everything.
I think it's actually teaching about getting the items, because there you go. Let's just wait until it turns. There we go. So, like I said, the slide will pick up first the money, but when you actually, there you go, when actually the object is potentially also in range, it will start appearing, and when you get it, and I say when you get it, there we go. Slide with that each feeding green will actually grab it, and then you can actually take out the guard. You can recognize which guard has an object behind, because their pockets might be glowing. Like in this case, it's a blue because they're the keys, but normally it's just a yellow glowing. Go on.
Yeah. Basically, Shiroi, it dates all the way back to 1990 with King's Quest V, because King's Quest V was not necessarily the first, but one of the first major PC games to have full-blown voice acting in every single line of dialogue. And Sierra thought, in all their great wisdom, okay, we have voice acting now, no need for subtitles. Let's just literally have just the characters talking and that's it. That's enough. So this dates back to a long time. Like, developers for whatever reason thought, okay, now that we have voice acting, no need for subtitles whatsoever.
Not just that. One thing that you might see in the future, there's also stuff like The Legend of Dragoon, which is very innovative because it's Sony's answer to Final Fantasy with an actual turn-based JRPG, but with a more busted up Sony's budget, which includes more FMVs. And actual voice acting, both having actual in-game cutscenes and voice acting in the FMVs. But it has no subs. Aside from the actual in-game dialogue with the text boxes, when it comes to the actual voice acting, there's no subs to speak of. And I have no idea why. Did Metal Gear, did the first one MGS had subs? I don't think so.
It did actually too.
Okay.
Well, remember too, well, regardless, the point is, Metal Gear Solid 1 has subtitles. Yes, even back on the PS1. So, the Metal Gear game.
I don't mean for the codec calls. I'm talking for the cutscenes, like for example when Ocelot is talking to you. If I recall correctly, there is something like the sequence where Ocelot meets you. Is like, oh, the man with the same code name as the boss, and that cutscene doesn't have subs.
No, that's the thing too. Well, hold on. If the idea is that hold on. Yeah, the idea is that by default they're turned off, but you can turn them on.
Okay. Here we go.
I think so. Let me actually double check.
Still one missing. You can also trash the place also for money if you want, but just be aware that the guards nearby might be alerted.
At the very least, I am absolutely sure that starting with 2, they definitely have subtitles.
I remember that as well. I just didn't know about the first one.
Let me
and
see.
Also, by extension, Twin Snakes incorporated them. There you go. The last guard managed to put himself out there. How did you get here? You have the agility of a brick.
Tank control. I wish sometimes fans would have control.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Yeah, just in general, really. Yeah, sometimes they go insane.
Usually,
did a fan shred your documents or something?
Also, usually fans have a regulator, 1, 2, 3 in terms of power lives.
Oh yeah, mine does too. It's just I wish sometimes it would go faster.
Okay, I just checked too. Yes, turns out even I was wrong. Yes, the subtitles are in and they're on by default.
Oh, okay. Anyway, there we go. For some reason, Dimitri had this device on top of the chandelier, so let's just... there we go. That should do it.
Yeah, that's what Tio just said.
Job completed.
Alright, next mission. Oh, hello, Constable Nila.
Constable Nila. Another policewoman hot on my tail.
Please, I led you here.
So that Claw Gang slip was a clue. Why are you helping me out?
I'm not as black and white as Carmelita.
Oh, look at that. She's actually is a good sport.
I don't want the likes of the Claw Gang putting them to use.
So
good
what?
Point.
Takes a thief to catch a thief?
Something like that. But if I'm
yeah, I think that I forgot to mention is that instead of just being for the police, she works for Interpol. Kind of like Chun-Li,
yeah.
so...
Literally.
Don't fall behind.
So yeah, this actually teaches you instead, a potential chase sequence. Basically, Nila is testing, Sly's ability, so stay on her tail.
Ain't that ironic? For once, Sly's the one doing the chasing.
Now the sequence is made so that, you know, even if you attack Nila, it won't do anything, so don't worry about that.
Well, we're not
Don't worry
working
also
at the
about-
moment.
Don't worry about abusing the run button, because the guards will not notice you, and Nila's AI is programmed to actually deal with them personally, thanks to her whip.
Yep. Wait, she has a whip and she's involved with Interpol. Just like a certain character from Ace Attorney.
And what you're hearing also is actually Nila's theme, which makes sense. She's Indian from actual India in terms of you know, nationality. I forgot what type of animal she's supposed to be. Probably like a panther or something.
Maybe it was that or a tiger.
No. We actually have an Indian tiger in the next episode, Jova.
Let me check.
TV Drops already mentioned this. Let me give you a second.
I do like the little bass guitar that plays on it's sneaky.
Again, Peter McConnell just knows how to use the proper instrument. Like I said, he's been specialized mostly in point-and-click games, but this actually put him in a new context, and he manages to still make it work out easily enough. Really cool.
Well done, Sly. We should work well together.
Glad you approve.
Now, legally, I can't enter Dimitri's nightclub.
But
I happen to have obtained a key to his back door, which a person like yourself can use however he
I'm
pleases.
sure we could.
We are absolutely going to work well.
oh, you're right, Jova. She's supposed to be a tigress. Okay.
Just purple.
Oh, well, that means Bentley will have to deal with that. What a nice chalice. Anyway, Bentley has an interesting kind of moveset. Being, again, the nerd guy is not really much for, you know, he has not for physical combat. He has an actual, you know, attack move, but he's pathetic, so you need to work with your brain. So instead, what he specializes in, blowing shit up like Tails.
He's also surprisingly quick for a turtle, all things
That
considered.
depends though, which Tails.
The Tales from Tales Adventure and sure. Yeah.
I thought,
No, he uses
I thought-
actual bombs in that.
No, not dummy ring bombs.
No.
But one put. Hold on. Yeah. The other thing is that Bentley's crossbow is actually equipped with sleeping darts, so you can just potentially, in a very sadistic way, you can actually, there you go, tranquilize a guard, make it fall asleep, and then bomb the shit out of it. Remember, Peggy free.
It's okay. He's asleep while it happens.
I just love the fact that the game has this kind of fucked up, you know, nature when it comes to actually dealing with enemies, but they still made it sure that Bentley uses a crossbow and not a gun.
It reminds me of in Red Faction, where you can throw sticky bombs onto the guards, so onto the enemies, and all they do is run around in terror, panicking and screaming, while you fuck around with them before you press the detonator.
There is something similar to that in one of the future games, so I don't wonder if they actually took inspiration from what you said, Lives.
Again, too. Allow me to remind. Again, too. Rosetta freaking Stone got away with a Peggy 7. So yeah.
Okay. With her, it's basically an innuendos that only adults will really get. So, yeah, that one I can easily see. Oh, don't get me wrong, it did not help the game's case, but I can sort of see that. Here, you're actively doing the bombing. I guess
Not just that,
fair,
again, it's not just a matter of blowing up the enemy, it's the fact that you put them in a state where they cannot react. Like, just when you think about it, that's really fucked up.
Okay, how about this then too? As Shiroi and Dwebs themselves really got blown away, but when I said this during the commentary, Fervent FF and Dark Force got away with a Peggy 12. So, and considering
I
this,
still
I don't get
how
that way either.
Did the intern just do the rating for that one, or like what is it?
Oops. Yeah, be careful also because your darts also produce produce sounds which will attract enemy if they're nearby enemies.
I'm guessing it's because there's no swearing, Shiroi.
It might be, but don't sexual allusions, suggestions may count towards defining the rating?
It's like Sheila Buff's. It's like Kyle's mom says too. Horrific and violence is okay as long as people don't say any naughty words.
Oh no, I know that, but that's not really what I was like. But to be fair, it's also probably time dependent. I actually do wonder. Because nowadays everyone loves to meme the fact that a lot of visual novels in the Japanese-made games had struggled on some type of console release due to censorship. But I do wonder if it's something that happened only recently, like if the extremes are gonna.
What year did this game come out?
Oh, this one early
2003, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
So I go, wait a minute. So wait, a level in a video game where you have to go around a disco, messing around with the equipment so you can move ahead. Gee, I wonder where I've heard that before in a game released the same year.
I don't know which specific one.
That came out the year after.
Angel of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a level where you're in an abandoned Parisian nightclub.
Like I said.
Hold on. Okay, this particular sequence, like I mentioned this in the first game, this particular sequence is also present in the Ratchet & Clank 3 demo. Ratchet & Clank 3 as a demo, but it's included in that game. But the script was actually altered because in this particular moment, Murray would have actually lashed out onto Bentley and saying that he was kind of patronizing him by the way he was talking. But probably someone at Sucker Punch realized that that kind of rant arrived from nowhere, so we just replaced it with Murray just responding with check at Bentley's suggestion. So I really wonder who thought in that early development state. Go on, Pedro.
That Dubs, like I've said in the previous part, the original PS2 release of this game got a PEGI 3, like Theo said, but the HD collection itself got a PEGI 7. So clearly the standards changed in between those two releases.
Also, Theo, you say innuendos, but like Fairy Fencer F is a game that flat out made pedophilia and assault persistent comedy skits. I wouldn't really call those innuendos.
Well, that's what I mean. I think like that would have potentially bumped it up even more.
Yeah, not just that.
Maybe they don't look for that kind of thing. Maybe they really do just look for swears and like nude scenes. And
honestly, Shiroi, that's the thing, Shiroi. I'm honestly convinced that whoever rated Final Fantasy F didn't only played like the first hour or so, because just the very scene in part 7 of our playthrough where Arlie basically shows half her naked body.
Oh, well, Pedro, that's the thing. As long as you don't see any nipples or anything, it's fine. Rated T for teen.
Yeah, it's the nipples
I get that.
The boards are offended by for some reason.
I don't know, Shiroi, nowadays it seems that showcasing a bit of skin is enough for the magical rays of light to appear.
Oh, trust me, Jova, I get that. Yes, seeing the nipples will bump it up to a PEGI 18. I get that. But that being said, with what they show in that scene, wouldn't at the very least give it a PEGI 16? I mean...
Nope. It's just fine so long as, you don't see the nipples.
And yet on some streaming platforms, women can't even show their shoulders, but sure.
It's a messed up system.
Oh shit.
The system is outright against you, Shiroi.
I mean, if you're turned on by shoulders, I mean, you do you, but like most people are not, I'm sure.
Not just that, by that logic, no Square Enix game should be shown because their female characters are very generous in showcasing their armpits. So.
Well,
Maybe they'll ban Square Enix characters because they'll think all the bolts and buckles are some BDSM shit.
Time for the final briefing of the episodes. Each briefing of the final briefing of the episodes will give the actual title of the Operation Thunderbeak. In this case.
First, Murray will help me break into the old water tower. From there, I should be able to shut down the plaza fountain. Dimitri's sure to send someone out to get the repair truck. Slot, you'll pickpocket the truck keys off this guy once he shows up. Then hand them off to me and Murray in the plaza. We'll go steal the truck while you climb to the top of the nightclub's peacock sign. When you're in position, Murray will fire the truck's winch line up to you and will use it to pull down the sign. If my calculations are correct, the impact should create an entrance to the printing press room.
All that's missing is a pile of birdseed to complete the convolutedness.
But what I do like is the fact that each step that you do beforehand contributes to the final operation. There was a reason why Bentley Marine's line had to sabotage those things previously, because they were connected to what they're about to do. It's actually very organic instead of feeling, just meandering.
Like, I joke, but yeah, this actually does, this actually does pan out well.
And before you ask, the games actually do manage to spice things up by making sure that no plan feels the same, and two, the outcome is not as immediate and predictable as you may think. So that's also pretty cool.
I'll toss you up there.
There we go. Time for the fastball.
In the meantime, Shiroi, this whole conversation got me curious, and I just had to check. Time and Eternity was also rated PEGI 12.
Oh.
So, and that one literally shows every single thing about the body except the nipples themselves. However, if it helped, and it also got a T in America. However, Australia gave it an M. It says right here.
Australia actually has stricter laws of censorship.
Australia is very strict on video games.
Remember, Mortal Kombat games always have a hard time there. Sometimes they're not even released for years.
And sometimes they're strict to even an absurd degree.
Let me put it like this, Pedro. In Australia, something as, kid-friendly as a Transformers game can be considered way too adult there, for several different reasons. Hell, Crash Bandicoot has an outright adult rating down there.
Jeez.
GTA was banned for a while.
Interesting.
So no, Australia actually always has more trouble when it comes to that. There we go.
That's what importing is for.
Yeah, which is also a bad problem for them because the tax equivalency and all.
Shipping costs can be high.
It's the same thing it's the same thing for Canada and South America.
Let me put it like this. It's great to import something from Australia to America because of the price difference. It's a nightmare importing, anything to Australia from almost any country because, the money conversion is not in their favor.
That's actually one of the big reasons why Brazil lives in its own unique master system purgatory, because
sometimes that's the best alternative they have.
Okay. Brazil's like a dystopian area where it's nigh impossible to get a system without shelling out an unbelievable quantity of money.
I mean, Australia banning some things makes sense, like that one Peppa Pig episode, but they really do go overboard a lot of the time.
Oh, look. Trust me, if we could band together to ban Peppa Pig from our lives, I would be all for that.
Joe, that wasn't the point. Anyway, let's give the keys to Bentley Murray.
It's all you.
Let's head out.
So first we see from the perspective of Bentley and Murray. Later on we'll catch up with Sly. Again, the presentation got a major buff from the previous game, and you can definitely see because. And remember, this is just the first level. The prologue in Cairo actually was only the prologue. This is actually this is actually the very first level that you do, and already you see the difference from the previous game. This is basically where the franchise grows the beard.
Yep.
There's the truck. Can you actually enter there, Murray? Oh well.
I need to get in position on top of the night.
There you go. Now we see what happened from Sly's perspective.
I really do like how this game does do a very good job, portraying these guys as a team. Not to say that the first game didn't do that, but more often than not, Bentley and Murray were more so relegated to mission control or some very, very, very very weird mini games.
Yeah.
Whereas here we see them all out on the field here and there, pretty much
will
looking like the Three Musketeers.
It will actually be reinforced even more in the next 2 games as well. So on that note, both Sucker Punch and Sunset actually got the idea right of the fact that this is an actual, a band and a team rather than me just Sly any sidekicks.
I was actually going to ask Tio, in regards to the gameplay, do you prefer this one or the third one, especially regarding, a certain character's change in gameplay due to certain story events?
I guess the third one, mostly because there are actually 4 stories and there are a lot more, playable characters. They re-rail some minigames to do that, so there is that. Oh shit. Really? An escort mission now? Alright. Jesus.
It's never easy in this job.
I'm checking. I was checking the covers for Phantasmagoria 2. As far as I can tell, Teo, the European cover has no rating whatsoever. At least in the cover itself. Maybe there was a rating somewhere, but the US cover has it. It says, and I quote in large letters: "Intense content." Not
anyway. I have to say. Somebody was really a fan of the Adam West Batman series when constructing the music for this.
Yeah, both. Well, not just that, even the sound effect. Both this game and the next one actually has the POW. The actual. There you go. The sound, the actual effects when you actually knock out the enemies. It's actually also a good way to tell you whether you actually have defeated one, because sometimes they might be just knocked back and you know if you're defeated or not.
Sure.
There we go.
Behold the majesty of gravity and inertia.
Nerd!
Okay, you jump in, grab the Clockwerk tail feathers, and we're out of here.
Simple, ain't it?
Oh, absolutely. Alright, pay attention because this dialogue is actually one of the highlights of the whole franchise.
Like totally bumming my house up and bringing me down. So very uncool. Why can't you let birds and bees be free, bro?
Listen, Dimitri, you have no idea what you're playing with. It'll bring more than your house down.
Look, bro, I see you are.
Oh, this is Peggy 3 and he's smoking? Like, I think rules of tobacco were already in place back then, but whatever.
And yet they had to remove cigarettes and replace them with lollipops.
Dimitri, I think what you're smoking is a bit too effective. Can you give it to me, please, instead?
Censorship standards are weird.
Yeah.
No
and
deal.
inconsistent.
You and the rest of the Claw Gang have to be stopped. Clockwerk will never again see the light of day. Just
It's
hand over
personal.
the tail feathers and we can...
What is this with clocks, bro? Have you no vision? Are you hearing what I beam to you? You think you have juice? Show me a little mind when talking about such big things. You think you can swing the bat? Show your bling and let me shine you.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what you're saying. And your suit's...
The slide, please focus.
Damn.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you see someone wear a bright, flashy suit like that, you can't unnotice it.
So yeah, Dimitri has a teleport move and a magical ring that he shoots projectile out of, so pay attention. But don't worry, we'll kind of lose this characteristic for future appearances.
What, did he drop his ring in the sewer or something?
Probably. I get the idea that the character, they first created the character and then they had to invent something for actually making him useful gameplay-wise. Bosses also has this tendency of taking a bit more hits before you can actually knock down their health bar, so there you go. Just because you can hit them doesn't mean that you can actually deal damage immediately.
Go figure.
But yeah, no, they are weird webs. Like Spielberg when he did his 2002 edition of E.T. The word terrorist. No, that's really bad for kids. But guns. Sorry. But them saying curse words like shit and damn, that's perfectly kid friendly.
Well, to be fair, back then it was. Like, you could say the S word in a PG film.
Where did he go? Oh, there you go. Sorry, go on, Joe.
Oh,
Like,
didn't PG-13 start showing up in the mid-90s?
I get the idea that the timing was bad, but...
PG-13 was a thing, but all the same, you could still say stuff like the S word in a PG film. Heck, I think you still can nowadays, so long as you only do it once.
There we go.
You take Clockwerk feathers and my counterfeit in operation. It's past tense.
I'm doing you a favor. What kind of thief prints money? There's no honor in that.
You... Crackerbox!
And his light just got a unique name, by the way. So yeah, got the tail feathers. Cool, I guess.
Clockwerk's tail feathers.
Alright, time to see the epilogue.
Coming together.
We escaped the end.
My gang and I had done it. The Clockwerk tail feathers were ours, and Dimitri's counterfeiting operation was ruined.
We're the good guys in this.
Absolutely.
And so was his ridiculous suit.
Of Carmelita, my escape got a little tricky. Angry at having just missed me, she took it.
Also, yeah, no more journals, one-liners, sadly, like in the previous game. Alas. Don't worry, we'll see Dimitri soon enough. Again.
The gang and I headed out of town for a week in Monaco. I figured
now,
the team had earned themselves
the other villains in this game actually get 2 episodes. Dimitri actually only get this one. He was supposed to get a second one in Monaco, where the plan was essentially for the gang to actually hijack a cruise ship and crash it inside a building. Yes, Luis, we were going to do the Speed 2 thing. But they had to cut it away for time constraints, and instead their plotline was actually, done when an actual comic adaptation of the franchise was made, sort of as a, killing joke.
Yeah, that's what Speed 2 should have been set aboard Concorde or something.
Anyway, tune in instead with one part of Clockwerk secured. Tune in instead for the next time where the gang will go in India against Rajan, the Indian tiger. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.